Welcome back from the break. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on this special broadcast on NewsX. Roti, kapda, makan. Yes, these are the three basics that many of us take for granted. They don't come easy in our country, do they? Yes, especially the third aspect of these basics, which is housing. It was a distant dream for many, but now over 3 crore families have a house which they can call their own. Thanks to Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. The ambitious scheme was started in 2015 and till date over 1.76 houses. In fact, that should be, I presume, 1.76 lakh crore houses have been handed out according to government records. As the year 2022 comes to an end, we at NewsX have travelled through the length and breadth of the country to understand the reach and penetration of this scheme. We met beneficiaries of this scheme as well, especially women holding a key to their own homes. Watch what elated families, Maliks and Malkins of their homes, as the Prime Minister described them, had to say.
A Pukka roof over their head, a key to a place they can call their own. That's the New Year gift which these people living in Muzaffarnagar received from the Prime Minister as a part of the PM Awas Yojana.
पहले हम किराए पे रहते थे सर, सहारनपुर अड्डे पे। हाँ जी।
तो दिक्कतें होती होंगी किराए?
हाँ जी, बहुत दिक्कत होती थी। अब बहुत अच्छा लग रहा, मैं ये मिल गया बहुत ज़्यादा। अब अपना हो चुका है
ये मकान हमको 1 हफ्ता हो गया मिले हुए और यहाँ पे रह के बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। किराए के मकान से बहुत ही अच्छा है यहाँ पे।
बहुत दिक्कत थी वहाँ पे किराए पे रहते हुए, बहुत परेशानी थी वहाँ पे किराए रहते ना, तो बहुत दिक्कत हुआ था वहाँ पे ज़्यादा ही।
तो कितना लंबाई चौड़ा क्या है?
सर लंबाई चौड़ा तो नापी नहीं हमारे, लेकिन अंदर एक कमरा है, एक बालकोनी है, लेटरिन बाथरूम है सर, किचन है सर। भाई सुविधा अच्छी तरह की मोदी योजना में बहुत अच्छी है, मतलब कोई दिक्कत वाली बात नहीं है।
T22 मकान मिला है जी और उसमें पानी बिजली और टाइल वगैरह सब सुविधा है जी और हम बहुत खुश है ये मकान मिलने पे, बहुत खुश है। पहले हम किराए पे रहते थे जनकपुरी में जी, अब जो हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं जी, ठीक ठाक है सब।
मैं इस समय मुजफ्फरनगर के मेरठ रोड पर मौजूद है। यहाँ पर प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के अंतर्गत जो लाभार्थियों को मकान दिए गए वो है, आप मेरे पीछे देख सकते हैं। ये 4 मंजिला जो है मकान बनाए गए हैं। इनमें अगर बात की जाए तो कम से कम 6 से 7 वेंटिलेशन हवाओं के लिए छोटे छोटे खिड़की, दर जंगले ये सब दिए गए हैं। और मैं दिखाना चाहूँगा आपको, ये बिल्कुल बाहर की रोड है, ये बाहर की रोड है। रोड की बात की जाए तो 1820 फीट के करीब की ये रोड है। साथ में पानी की निकासी के लिए जो है नाली दी गई है और सीवरेज सिस्टम भी यहाँ पर दिया गया है। ये जो ढक्कन है सीवरेज सिस्टम के हैं, उसी के तहत यहाँ से पानी की निकासी जो है बाहर बनेगी। मैं बात करूँ कि ये आप साफ देख सकते हैं, ये मुख्य दरवाज़ा है मकान का और साथ में देख सकते हैं छोटी विंडो है, विंडो को शीशे से ढका गया है। ये किचन की विंडो है। यहाँ से अंदर की बात की जाए तो ये किचन की विंडो है, आप साफ देख सकते हैं, ये किचन है। किचन के साथ में ताकि रोशनी और हवा दोनों का जो है ध्यान रखा गया है, आप जो देख सकते हैं, क्योंकि किचन में मुख्यतः हवा और पानी का जो है विशेष ध्यान दिया जाता है। बात की जाए इस मकान की चौड़ाई की तो 38 वर्ग गज के करीब इसकी चौड़ाई है और लाभार्थियों को ये बताया गया है कि उनकी जो है उन्हें आधा पैसा देना है। जबकि अगर कुल टोटल की लागत की बात की जाए तो 4,60,000 के करीब इसकी टोटल लागत बनती है, जिसमें 2 लाख रुपए जो है लाभार्थी को दिए जाने हैं और बाकी जो है भारत सरकार जो प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के अंतर्गत लाभार्थी है वो सरकार उनको देने वाली है। मैं इस समय मुजफ्फरनगर के प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के अंतर्गत जो मकान लाभार्थियों को दिए गए उन पर मौजूद आप देख सकते हैं। सामने F13 नंबर का ये फ्लैट है। इसमें अगर एंट्री की बात की जाए तो आप बिल्कुल देख सकते हैं कि ये छोटी सी शुरू में जो है लॉबी है और लॉबी के बाद में सामने एक छोटा कमरा है। कमरा की बात की जाए तो जी आप दिखा दीजिए ज़रा किस तरह का कमरा है। ये बेडरूम है जो एक मिनी बेडरूम के टाइप का है इनका, आराम से ये लोग रह सकते हैं यहाँ पे। और इन्होंने अपना मंदिर वगैरह और साथ में अगर खिड़की है बेडरूम के साथ लगती हुई, ताकि जो आने वाली हवा है शुद्ध हवा का भी इसमें बनाने में ध्यान रखा गया है। वहीं अगर बात की जाए एक छोटा सा इसमें किचन भी है। किचन हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं, किचन को आप देख सकते हैं, टाइल लगाई गई है और एक यहाँ पे खिड़की दी गई है ताकि जो आने वाला धुआं है या हवा है उसको वेंटिलेशन किया जा सके। साथ में ही जो है वॉश बेसिन भी लगाया गया है और टाइल आप देख सकते हैं, टाइल भी लगाई गई है। एक नीचे छोटा स्पेस दिया गया है ताकि जो सामान है वो रखा जा सके। आप देख सकते हैं छोटा किचन है, लेकिन सामान रखने की जो है स्पेस की का भी इसमें ध्यान रखा गया है। अब बात की जाए वहीं एक छोटी सी लॉबी की, तो यहाँ पर जो इनके मेहमान होंगे आने वाले वो बैठ सकते हैं, खाना खाया जा सकता है यहाँ पर बैठ कर आराम से, छोटे से मकान की तरह। और साथ में ही इधर आप देख सकते हैं शौचालय और बाथरूम दोनों चीज़ बनाई गई है। इसमें आप देख सकते हैं किस तरह की नीचे टाइल लगाई गई है, वही टाइल के साथ साथ जो है पानी की व्यवस्था है, और हवा के ऊपर देख सकते हैं वेंटिलेशन की भी व्यवस्था की गई है। वहीं इसी तरह से एक साथ में छोटी सी लॉबी दी गई है खिड़की के साथ में ही, ताकि यहाँ से जो बाहर का वो नज़ारा है वो देख सके अपने ही मकान से। जो है ये आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पे जो है बाहर के जो है पार्क फेसिंग है, पार्क भी एक छोटा सा दिया गया है। और इसी तरह से इन लाभार्थियों को इस तरह के मकान की सौगात प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के अंतर्गत दी गई है। मुजफ्फरनगर से इंडिया न्यूज़ के लिए धर्मेंद्र कुमार।
And joining us at this point is Prabhakar Kumar, HOD Urban Planning for PMAY. We also have Dikshu Kukreja, Urban Planner and Senior Architect, joining us live. Yugendra Kapoor, Senior Economist, also joins the broadcast, as does Gautam Mukherjee, Senior Journalist. We also have Rishabh Gulati, Managing Editor of NewsX, joining us live on the broadcast as well. Let me bring you in here for Prabhakar Kumar. Obviously, we are seeing for ourselves how the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana has translated into Pakka makans for these people in Muzaffarnagar. There are these, their dreams have come through these accommodations which have been given to them. Their living room is visible there, the various rooms are visible, the compound we've seen as well. Obviously, these are elated families, Prabhakar Kumar, and this is not just UP, but spread across all over the country. What has been your experience, just tell us, through working on the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and what was the goal given to you?
Working on this PMAY, and in starting it was not flowing with the pace, but once the beneficiary felt that it is going to happen and we are going to take the houses, and from slum houses or from kacha houses we will live into the pakka houses, their enthusiasm get pace with the government scheme. And they participated in various programs, and they took initiatives for making because they are poor, they are hand to mouth people. In starting, they were not able to collect those money which they have to put for construction of the houses. But with the effective project monitoring and effective initiation of the government and knowledge building, capacity building, they know that they have to gather the money and put into the construction of houses. And you can see that in UP, particularly in the BLC component, 14 lakhs houses have been sanctioned.
Yes.
And out of
and this
that,
is not just sanctioning, but there is proper follow-up as well, Prabhakar, isn't there? There are timelines which are followed. The money is obviously going directly to the bank account, so there is no scope of pilferage. And are the timelines being met?
And timeline, because on mission mode, this scheme was monitored. And you can see the result. 11 lakhs houses have been completed. Out of 14 lakhs BLC component, 11 lakhs houses completed. It itself indicates that how the regressive monitoring was done, and the direct through DBT, the fund was directly transferred to the beneficiary, and the PMC consultant, they did the proper monitoring, and it is the result that the 11 lakhs houses are constructed and they are living in the Pakka houses.
Yes. Okay, let me bring in Rishabh as well at this point. Rishabh, because this is a ground report coming in from Muzaffarnagar. Now, Muzaffarnagar often occupies the headlines for news of communal violence. That's what political parties also rage in their campaigns and their rhetoric. But what does the public care about? Bijli, Sadak, Pani and Makan. And obviously the latter is being fulfilled through this yojana.
So over the course of the 4 hours that we're doing live right now, okay, I mean, which we'll repeat tomorrow once again, we've been Shamli, okay, Muzaffarnagar. These are complicated places if you follow us on the news, okay. But the development is happening there. We've spoken to Muslim families, who have got a Chauchalya, you're going to see a ground report from Muslim family who's got a house under PM Awas Yojana coming up in a few minutes. So, once we start moving away from our old typeset issues, what I just want to comment on is what you can see on your screens. You have to see it again to believe it. No, I had also had apprehensions of any government scheme building a house. Okay. But this is, you look at the building, it's a 4-story building, it's neat and clean, there is proper sewerage, there's proper rainwater systems that have been put into place. There is a kitchen, there with a sink, there is a bathroom with a separate bathing area, there's a small balcony to hang up your clothes with a view, there is a window in every room, there's a sitting area, and there's a bedroom which also has a window. So some thought has been put into some quality of life for the person living there, and the houses are pakka built, which means they have a concrete roof. That's how the definition of pakka house is. That eat ki diwar anybody can put. Is the concrete roof is when it becomes a pakka house in a compound where you then have neighbors. Then you have a sense of social security that comes with that. This is what the touch feel approach is, and you're going to hear from the rest of the ground reports about the money transfer which you're pointing out. That when the money is coming for those who are self-building, some of them are being built under the scheme, many of them are self-built. The money is coming in 3 tranches directly to their account, and you hear for themselves what the people are saying through the course of this telecast.
Okay, well, you spoke about Shamli, Rishabh. Let's now, in fact, play out that ground report that is coming in from Shamli in Uttar Pradesh, because Shamli in UP has seen major progress as far as the PM Awas Yojana is concerned. Its main beneficiaries here, Muslim families, have benefited. Prime Minister Modi is certainly, it seems, changing the narrative one village at a time. Let's take a look.
Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, a living testimony of the Prime Minister's clarion call was what we saw when we went to Shamli and spoke to some of the beneficiaries of the Prime Minister Awas Yojana.
हमें अंतर ये आया है कि पहले हमारा मकान छोटा था, टूटा हुआ था, कड़ी भी थी, उसमें पानी भर जाता था, तो दिक्कत थी बहुत सारी। हमें योजना का पता लगा, फार्म भरे हमने, तो हमें जो है ना सरकार से फ़ायदा हुआ, पैसा आया अकाउंट में डायरेक्ट, और हमें कोई किसी को लेना देना नहीं पड़ा, बिल्कुल डायरेक्ट पैसा आया। हमें इससे बहुत फ़ायदा हुआ, मकान हमारा लेंटर का बना, पक्का बना।
अब बिल्कुल ही मुश्किल ही नहीं होता, थोड़ा बहुत भी नहीं होता अब तो। क्यों? क्योंकि अब बारिश से पानी नहीं आता अंदर मकान के। पक्का मकान बन गया, लेंटर का मकान बना लिया। तो खुश है हम लोग, बहुत खुश है जी। हम तो पहले से बहुत खुश है। पहले तो बहुत मतलब परेशान थे, लेकिन अभी तो वो परेशानी, जो हमारी परेशानी थी वो दूर हो गई। योजना अच्छी लगी आपको? बहुत अच्छी लगी जी। देखो, हम तो यही चाहते हैं कि दोबारा मतलब ऐसी गरीब के लिए, गरीब तबके के लिए मतलब ऐसी योजनाएं आए, ऐसी योजनाएं मिले और उनको लाभ मिले इस चीज़ का।
देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के द्वारा प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना की शुरुआत की गई। हम इस वक्त मौजूद है शामली जनपद के कांदला कस्बे में, और आप देख सकते हैं कि ये जो कांदला कस्बे में मकान है, मोहम्मद इंतजार साहब का मकान है, और ये प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत बना। पहले यहाँ पर बड़े बड़े गड्ढे थे मकान के अंदर, और ये गहराई का मकान था, कच्चा मकान था, कड़ी इस मकान के मौजूद थी। लेकिन आप देख सकते हैं कि अब बड़ा ही खूबसूरत जो है मकान ये बना है। ऊपर आप देख सकते हैं कि लेंटर जो है पूरा मकान पक्का बना दिया गया है। ये जो लोग हैं, जो घर के अंदर मौजूद लोग हैं जिनका ये मकान है, उनका भी कहना है कि बड़ी अच्छी योजना के साथ यह मकान बनाया गया है, और किसी भी प्रकार की इन्हें किसी को कोई कमीशन नहीं देना पड़ा है। जो 2.5 लाख रुपए सरकार की योजना के द्वारा दिए गए हैं वो सीधे इनके खाते में आए हैं, और इन जो 2 भाई हैं, दोनों के ही आवास आई हैं। इनका साफ तौर पर कहना है कि ऐसी योजना जो सरकार के द्वारा चलाई जा रही है, इससे गरीबों को बेहद लाभ होता है, और उम्मीद करते हैं कि सरकार इस प्रकार की योजनाएं आगे भी गरीब तबके के लिए लाती रहेगी। सहयोगी आरिफ के साथ वरुण पवार, इंडिया न्यूज, कांदला।
Gautam Mukherjee, let me draw you in here, because sometimes slogans like Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, Sabka Saath becomes just a campaign slogan, which can be criticized. But then when one sees development and action like this being taken on ground, where even Muslim families' houses are being built under this scheme in areas where the minority population is in quite a high number, like the Shamli district in Uttar Pradesh, in western Uttar Pradesh, then we can see that obviously they are benefiting through such schemes as well. There is no favoritism towards one particular community and not to the others. Do you believe, Gautam Mukherjee, it's fair to say that? And this ground report certainly proves it.
Well, the important thing here is it is a step that only the government can take. If you look at low-cost housing in the private sector, minimum price is in the 14 to 18 lakh category, plus taxes and registration costs and so on, for a one-bedroom place. Now, compared to that, this is 2 to 4 lakhs, of which the financing comes from the government directly to the people. Their ability to pay it back is made convenient. It's a marvelous thing. And compare it with, the cost of living in rent in a slum. It's expensive because slumlords are not exactly benign. They charge large rents. You can't pay, they throw you on the road. If you build something by yourself, it is scraps and pieces. So there is all of this, and it is the only thing for a country that aspires to be a developed country to help the bottom of the pyramid. Now, the fact that these people are Muslims is laudable, but it is applicable to all poor. That it is happening in UP, where you've got a chief minister who is a Hindutva icon, is all the more creditable.
Okay, let me bring in Dikshu Kukreja at this point as well on, on the fact that, as Rishabh was saying earlier, this is a community. So it's not just a house that's been built for the sake of it, Dikshu Kukreja, but this is a Pukka house. Take us through the significance of that. It's obviously been built with some amount of, comprehensive urban planning to provide a sense of neighborhood, a community. Also, some of those, houses, interiors that we were just seeing. So, the rooms have good ventilation as well. So have their windows in place, are obviously, spaced out pretty adequately. Isn't it, Dikshu Kukreja? What is your sense when you've been hearing and seeing these ground reports as well?
No, absolutely, Uday, and I must compliment you and of course Rishabh as well for bringing out these wonderful stories of a transforming India. Often we just hear about things going wrong around the world, but then you see a mission which India is going through, which you are talking about, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, where, as you mentioned in the beginning of the conversation, 1.76 crore houses being sanctioned means it's more than the population, I want your viewers to understand, more than the population of 200 countries in the world have a population less than 1.76 crores. So that scale of housing to take place, where we all have witnessed private developers trying to build a few hundred houses, they fall by the wayside, they do not keep up their promise, and here the government is building houses to this scale and size. It's enormous, I think. And further, what adds to the whole charm and happiness quotient of this development is that it's irrespective of caste, creed or religion, as your reports have pointed out. So I think it's a phenomenal mission. And we must understand that it is a challenging mission. I want your viewers to also realize that for the luxury of those of us who live in urban homes, what a concrete roof, like Rishabh pointed, a roof over our head, what it means to these families, not only socially, but also psychologically. So this is really a great mission. And I do agree with you when you look at the kind of urban development that is going on in terms of even getting into the micro level of the light, ventilation and compact homes, but highly functional homes. So all in all, I think it's a mission which is laudable. And I do hope it just continues to go across the country. We know that some states like UP and Gujarat have fared very well in it, while some other states are obviously lagging behind. But I think it's something we all need to embrace and make sure, as Gautam pointed out, that the bottom pyramid of our country, of our society here, is able to get these basic tenets of Roti, Kapda and Makan.
Okay, so from Western UP now, let's shift our focus slightly to near about central Uttar Pradesh, where Shahjahanpur as well has witnessed amazing growth in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana scheme. Yes, several houses which have been built already and many lives which have already been touched in Shahjahanpur. My colleague is bringing you the ground reality from Shahjahanpur. Let's take a look.
Our next stop, Shahjahanpur in Uttar Pradesh. The beneficiaries of the scheme, mostly women who we spoke to, were elated after becoming, as the PM would call them, malkins of their own homes.
हर उस गरीब इंसान का, हर उस बेघर इंसान का एक सपना होता है कि उसका अपना एक मकान हो, उसके सिर पर एक छत हो। उस सपने को सच करने के लिए प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत कई बेघर लोगों को मकान दिया गया, सिर पे छत दी गई। आज हम शाहजहांपुर के भावलखेड़ा ब्लॉक में हैं, जहां पर सैकड़ों बेसहारा लोगों को, जिनके सर पर छत नहीं थी, पक्की छत नहीं थी, झोपड़ीनुमा मकानों में रहा करते थे, उनको मकान दिया गया प्रधानमंत्री आवास का। लाभार्थी के साथ आज हम कुछ बात करेंगे। आज हमारे साथ एक वैसे ही लाभार्थी हैं, ओम प्रकाश जी। आइए हम इनसे बात करते हैं कि इनको किस तरीके से प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत मकान मिला और इनका क्या क्या सपना साकार हुआ। ओम प्रकाश जी, ये बताइए, आपको जब मकान मिला, इससे पहले आपकी क्या स्थिति थी?
कच्चे मकान था।
कच्चे मकान में रहते थे?
कच्चे
तो
मकान
क्या क्या
में
परेशानियां हुआ करती थी?
परेशानी साहब, बरसात में ऐसे छप्पर डाल लेते थे।
अच्छा, छप्पर डाल लेते थे। तो बरसात में सामान भी भीगता होगा, आप भी
और
भीगते
साहब,
होंगे।
हाँ, सब भेजते ही रहे, बैठे जाते हैं, मान लो बैठे।
लेकिन अब तो आपको पक्का मकान मिला प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत, तो आपको कैसा लगता है, कितनी खुशी होती है?
खुशी हमें बहुत हो गई।
तो सरकार के बारे में क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
अच्छा कहेंगे हम,
सरकार के बारे में अच्छा कहेंगे।
अच्छा मिला है आवास।
देखिए, आज ये ओम प्रकाश थे जिन्होंने बताया कि देखिए इनका एक कमरा बना हुआ है, इस कमरे में इनका सामान रखा हुआ है, साथ ही ये रसोई है, जो कि जिस तरीके से प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत जो नक्शा हुआ करता है, उस नक्शे को लेकर ही मकान बनवाया जाता है। और आप देख सकते हैं कि ओम प्रकाश का कहना था कि पहले वो कच्चे मकान में रहा करते थे, लेकिन अब उनके सिर पर छत है। उनको सरकार के लिए उनके प्रति बड़ा सम्मान है। साथ ही उनका एक बात ये भी कहना है कि जिस तरीके से बरसात में उनका सामान भीगा करता था, उनके वो भीगते थे, लेकिन अब ऐसा नहीं होता है। शाहजहांपुर से शशांक शुक्ला, इंडिया न्यूज़ के लिए।
And it's obviously not just Uttar Pradesh where such development has happened. It's not just UP where people are benefiting from this Awas Yojana. Let's actually now shift our focus a bit. Let's move to Haryana. Let's show you what the ground reality is in Haryana, where the Prime Minister Awas Yojana is also touching people. There is also leading to people in Haryana to getting Pukka houses. Let's go straight across to Jhajjar and play out now this report. What did my colleagues see there on ground?
After a reality check at Uttar Pradesh, we headed to Haryana. Here also, we met people who had just moved to a brick and concrete home, all of their own.
ये प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना की तरफ से हमें लाभ मिला है और मोदी सरकार ने हमें 1.5 लाख रुपए मिला। उसमें एक कमरा, लैट्रिन, बाथरूम, रसोई।
तो कोई परेशानी तो नहीं आई?
परेशानी तो है जी, अपने दौरे तय लगाया, बाकी पैसा तो 1.5 लाख रुपए उनके मकान बनाए।
हमने ये मकान जो बनाया हमें प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना की तरफ से बनाया मंत्री जी के, तो उन्होंने ही हमारे को ये पैसे दिए हैं, 2 कमरे, लैट्रिन, बाथरूम और रसोई।
कितने पैसे मिले थे आपको?
शहर वासियों ने बताया कि 2 कमरे रसोई और बाथरूम के लिए 2.5 लाख रुपए मिलते हैं और 1 कमरा रसोई और बाथरूम के लिए 1.5 लाख रुपए सरकार की तरफ से दिए जाते हैं और ये पैसा बिना किसी झंझट के गरीब आदमी के खाते में आता है, लेकिन 3 किस्तों में आता है। जैसे हमने पहले बताया कि डीपीसी तक पहली किस्त आएगी, 7 तक जाने के बाद दूसरी और कंप्लीट होने के बाद तीसरी किस्त आसानी से गरीब लोगों को सरकार द्वारा दी जा रही है और हर गरीब आदमी इसका फ़ायदा उठा सकता है। जिसकी आय 1,80,000 रुपये से कम है, वो आदमी जिला कार्यालय पर जाकर अपने फॉर्म भर सकते हैं और इन मकानों का फ़ायदा ले सकते हैं। इंडिया न्यूज़ के लिए झज्जर से जगदीप राजान।
Okay, now that's an interesting report because it's actually showing you another aspect of the scheme where it's not just the keys which are being given over to the men of the house or just men, but women, as you can see, are benefiting from this, Rishabh. The house being given to the lady there, Geeta, it's obviously in her name. The money is coming straight to her bank account. It's being built for her. It's not just the men who are having control over this. And also he, interestingly, has given us a breakdown. So houses are built in phases.
So how this is happening is that if you are wanting to build a 2-bedroom house, you get about 2.5 lakhs of support. If you're building a 1-bedroom house, you get 1.5 lakhs of support. At the beginning of construction, you get 50,000 rupees. Once you have put the roof, concrete roof, you get another 50,000, and once the house is completed, you get the final 50,000. And in this case, great example, the lady's name. So the house is in the name of the woman, the matriarch of the family. In this case, it was Geeta. That is empowerment. The fact that the money is being transferred directly to the beneficiary through a bank transfer means that there is no pilferage at all. It is not 50,000 that 5,000 reaches the individual. 50,000 reaches the individual. All of these things add up to a big deal, Uday.
Yes, the former Prime Minister of the country as well, Rajiv Gandhi, had said, he had also acknowledged that pilferage used to happen at one point. Obviously now through DBT, Yogendra Kapoor, pilferage is being completely erased, isn't it? And there are budgets being allocated for this as well, Yogendra. You're on our show every year for the union budget. These are just terms, and there is a brief mention of it because budget has to be very comprehensive, and there are a lot of things mentioned in the finance minister's budget scheme. But this has been an allocation that very conscientiously has gone out for the Awas Yojana because it is yielding results, and the ambit of it is so immense in our nation because of our population, Yogendra. Just explain this a bit for our viewers. Do we have Yogendra with us?
We have him, just PCR requires to just...
Yogendra Kapoor? Okay, I think we are having some further trouble there with Yogendra's connection. We will try and get him back in just a second. Let me go back across to Dikshu Kukreja for a second, because Dikshu, these are budgets which are very important, and the fact that obviously this is in a phased manner being given out ensures that it's not being misused or diverted elsewhere. But har kisht aa raha hai, once on ground there is action being taken. So when the construction starts, to when the concrete roof is put, to of course when finally the house is built. And this is what happens in construction, doesn't it? You know it best, Dikshu.
No, absolutely, Uday. And what's important is that, first of all, you pointed out that the direct benefit transfer is very important, because that's kind of eliminating any kind of whatever leakages or reduction of actual amounts from the government which are allocated being transferred directly to the beneficiaries.
Okay. I think we are having some trouble there with Dikshu Kukreja's connection as well. Let me take that back across to Rishabh, because Rishabh, these are benefits that are translating into action on ground and are resonating with the people. I remember traveling through the country during the Lok Sabha elections of 2019, the most recent Lok Sabha elections, and on ground in UP as well, MPs were raising this issue and the public was free to answer yes or no. Have you received money for your Awas Yojana? Have you seen houses being built? And they were predominantly saying yes. Of course, there were criticism that MPs were facing. I remember during that campaign for not coming to certain villages. But even in those villages where they themselves had not visited and were being criticized for not coming, when they would ask this Awas Yojana question, the answer would be predominantly yes. And this was one of the main things that they would highlight in their campaign on ground.
The thing is, what is a campaign for the sake of politics, and do we now believe that we have transcended political promises into actual belief that we want to serve and build this country? Okay, Narendra Modi, I have said at the very beginning, is coach and captain. It has to be done by Team India, by all the people, including all of us who have a role in all of this. But you made believers out of these people that they can improve their lives by being systematic, and their faith has been restored in the system. For the system to survive, for the democratic institutions to survive, for the republic to survive, the vast majority of people need to have faith in the system, and the system hasn't served them well for a long period of time. Now, when a person says, okay, as is a government scheme, I actually got the money, my house is built, then they start believing. But also then their hopes and expectations and dreams, as always, whether you would have started your career at a particular earning capacity, I'm sure you earn a lot more now, okay, and hopes and dreams and aspirations go up, which is a good thing to happen. But this faith restoration, slight systematic approach, now every house is not going to be perfect, Every project is not going to be perfect. Every person who's the recipient of the funds is also not going to be perfect. So, do problems happen? Yes, they happen. But overall, a sense of positivity. If I come to your house or you come to my house, or there will be some chitkani which is not functioning. There will be some tap that has a problem. There will be some switch which is not working. Now, this is part and parcel of life. If we want to nitpick, we can spend even multi-crore houses, find problems in them. But here, there's a logic, and I wanted really to see for ourselves. Is this actually a nice looking decent place? And it's a nice looking decent place.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Spread across different states. You see, seeing is believing. We can be talking about something, but why we've played out so many ground reports is because obviously it's important for reporters to go and speak to the beneficiaries and look at the houses themselves, and then for the viewers to also judge for themselves once you see these ground reports. Okay, I'm being told we have our guest back with us. Let me quickly go back to Dikshu on the funds and the modus operandi question, then I'll go back to Yogendra on the budget allocation question as well. Yes, Dikshu first.
So I was mentioning, Uday, that what's important is the way it works in terms of direct beneficiary transfer. I think that's a fantastic scheme because it's eliminating any kind of loopholes that were there probably prevalent earlier. The other important thing is that construction is a sequential activity. So the release of these funds at important stages related to the construction becomes important, because otherwise where problems can happen is that if you immediately release the entire amount, the beneficiary can start using it for other factors or other needs of his. But by releasing it in certain installments, it's also instilling the confidence and the initiative that the person should go ahead and complete the home as soon as possible. So from that perspective, I think this whole idea of allocating funds and releasing them in a sequential manner related to construction, linking it with the construction progress is also a very positive development.
Yogendra. Yogendra, if you heard my question, you can go ahead. Okay, I think we're having some trouble there with Yogendra's connection once again, but let's also now quickly go across to our last stop for today on the broadcast. So we're moving now to another part of Haryana. Let's go across to Bhiwani now. People there are telling us about the gratitude that they have for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the PM Awas Yojana. It's provided a roof over their heads. Let's look at this ground report coming in from Bhiwani.
Be it a state ruled by the BJP or the opposition, the downtrodden section of the society have benefited from the scheme without a bias. Here's a look at a report.
पीएम आवास योजना बहुत बढ़िया योजना है जी। ये 3 किस्तों में पैसे आए थे और 3 कमरे बनाए हैं हमने। कुछ पास से लगाए हैं, कुछ सरकार ने दिए हैं। बहुत बढ़िया योजना है। ये सरकार गरीब आदमियों के लिए बहुत ही बढ़िया योजना है। ये योजना बार-बार आनी चाहिए।
बिल्कुल ही अच्छी स्कीम है और हमारी हमको तीनों किस्तें मिल चुकी हैं इसकी। और तीनों किस्तें आप देख सकते हैं। 2 कमरे, एक बरामदा लगता है, इसके सारे एक छोटा कमरा है, साइड में रसोई है।
घर बनाए, इसमें 3 कमरे बनाए हमने, जिसमें 2 किस्त मिली है, तीसरी मिलने वाली है।
तो सरकार की कैसी योजना?
बहुत अच्छी योजना है। ऐसी योजनाएं और चलाएं।
तो आप सरकार की इस योजना से खुश हैं?
हाँ, खुश हैं।
Housing for all, that was the dream with which the Prime Minister started the scheme in 2015. And now, there are over 3.5 crore families who have a Pukka roof over their head, thanks to the Prime Minister Awas Yojana. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Okay, so there you have it. That's another part of the country. That's another state, and it's of course the very same kind of result that we're getting in another part of Haryana as well. Because at the end of the day, these are not just reports, Rishabh, that we have done from the south of India or central India, but they spread across the country, which is why from UP now we've traversed to another part of the country in Haryana.
Yeah, we have tried to cover across the board, and remember, this is only we've just done roads, toilets. Now we're doing houses. UPI is coming up next. On the 2nd of January, which is Monday, we're going to be back. We're going to be doing insurance, food security, which is a PMGK scheme. So we're doing a very comprehensive deep dive into this. So in fact, these are not even all the ground reports. This is just, it's a distillation of the ground reports. I've asked my colleagues therefore, that they will now come and do this in extent, and on social media, we are putting this out as putting out more content which we can't air over here. But the point is, we have interviewed the ministers. I've interviewed Hardeep Puri twice on the PM Awas Yojana, okay, over the course of the past 2 years, specifically on this. And every time I've heard the statistics. But what happens when you actually go and check on the ground, that when you just heard that, okay, 14 lakh houses are commissioned in a particular state in North India, of which 11 lakh have been completed, what do they look like? Are they actually completed? What are the people saying? Are the majority of them satisfied? There'll always be somebody who has a problem, who's not got things on time, or some people who are habitual have a problem with everything. But what are the people overall sort of saying? Is there some positivity and improvement injected? And from the touch and feel, what you can see for yourself, okay, does it look like a decent, humane place for a family to grow up in? And if it passes these basic tests, does it have a drain? Does it have a bathroom? Does it have a kitchen? Does it have a window? Does it have a balcony? Is it reasonably well constructed, or within 2 months it's already falling apart? So all of these touch and feel things make the difference, and which is why we're doing this telecast. You can see, and it's not just not just the ground reports. We put some photographs on the screen. Let's get rid of the map. It's not telling us anything right now. See the photographs of just the complexes that have been built. They're decent places, which are respectable places to live, okay, where it's just not crumbling within a few weeks and months, and then pride is instilled. The Delhi metro, the big thing was, oh, you'll build this fancy metro with granite, then people will be, thukoing pan on it, it'll be smelling of urine. It didn't happen in 20 years. Because if you do it well, then people take pride and then they take care of it. And then the odd ones out are also then looked at by their neighbors. And then there's a positive peer pressure in keeping your house neat and clean, or throwing away your garbage, keeping your bathroom clean. That's the direction you want to head into there.
Yes. Let me join Gautam Mukherjee before I also go to Prabhakar on the next phase of the Awas Yojana and, the further goal setting that obviously has happened as well. Gautam, it's all very well to of course ascend to the level that India is, in terms of our economy, which of course has also set very important goals for the next few years. We hopefully will be the third largest economy very, very soon. Gautam Mukherjee, and you've been on all those debates. We've spoken about how India is becoming a Vishwaguru in terms of our foreign policy, prowess, and of course outreach, and the importance that obviously world leaders also accord to our Prime Minister. But cut to the chase, all of that will not amount to much if the people on ground are also not benefiting from this success, if they are being left out of this growth trajectory. And as I was saying earlier, it all boils down to bijli, sadak, pani, makan. Then you can move to other things. Isn't it, Gautam Mukherjee?
Yes, and if you look at it, Uday, these 4 lakh houses are only possible because you're not being charged for architecture, you're not being charged for the construction as such, you're paying your installments based on financing from the government. So you're getting huge benefits in addition to the apparent ones, which are just to give money to people at the bottom of the pyramid in order to do this. It is absolutely clear that if you don't have slums, you've gone a very long way in a country of 1.4 billion people. After 20 plus years, now at last Adani is going to be doing something about the Dharavi slums. Successive governments and many builders have come and gone. Many schemes have been tried, but it is working as well in the private sector now. So let us take pride in this. This is important, and as you rightly pointed out, that unless you raise the bottom of the pyramid to a minimum standard, and that's what this Yojana is demonstrating. You've given them gas, you've given them electricity, you've given them water, you've given them sewerage, you've given them houses that are fit to live in, and you're eliminating slums. So this is an eyesore that has been with us from the year dot, and is a fantastic achievement and something to look forward to in 2023 and beyond.
Yes. Yes, and which is why, of course, NewsX has decided to end the year with this programming, isn't it, Rishabh? Because if these aspects are not there, then for these people on ground in villages, there is no point of their lives and livelihoods, isn't there?
Yeah.
And this is all something to look forward to in 2023. There are various further goals, which I'll just get Prabhakar on.
Yes.
But this is
yes.
why.
So before you go to Prabhakar ji, yes, so we're doing this because, like I said, we've done the statistical high flying. We had the new India News Munch just a few days ago. We had 12 union ministers, chief ministers, all of them telling us what they say in theory they are doing. Okay, it's a Team India approach. I repeat, Narendra Modi can only be captain and coach. But in terms of goal orientation, in terms of positivity, not the negativity that whatever scheme is going to be a flop anyway, why even bother trying? In terms of energy, in terms of enthusiasm, is the slogan. When I began this telecast by saying we have a slogan, news not noise. So you're watching a prime time telecast here, none of us are shouting and screaming with each other, I'm not doing running around, throwing papers at somebody's face, throwing water at somebody's face. So do I take the slogan seriously, or is it just a slogan? So when we say Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, is it being taken seriously, or is it just a political semantics that are being used? And if we then change our philosophy and actually say that okay, maybe the slogan is being taken seriously, then we actually go and meet Usanu Begum, okay, who says, yeah, I got a toilet, okay. We are doing a UPI telecast. We are speaking to Muslim shopkeepers that yes, this is not just a slogan, that when you're building the roads, UPI is something, whether you and me are beneficiaries, we use it every day. We're going to do the telecast next. So it's about a sense of purpose. Does it mean all our problems are solved? Does it mean 100%, 10%, everything credit should go to Narendra Modi? Everybody should become a BJP fan? No. Everybody should be an India fan. Everybody should be a believer in India. What we can do if we put our minds to it. COVID taught us over 2 years, and the implementation of these schemes is teaching us now.
Prabhakar Kumar, what is the next phase now? What are the next goals that have been set for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for 2023 and moving forwards?
See, as you told that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas. It is the very renowned slogan by our honorable Prime Minister, and it is observed in PMAY because government has done their own role. Even beneficiary, they have also played a very great role, because previously they were very demotivated about any government scheme. But once they started to see, no, it is actually coming directly, fund is coming directly to the beneficiary, and they have to spend on that. It is, and in a stage wise, they have to do the construction, not misuse the fund. And if I complete this particular stage, I will get that much amount, then again complete a stage and I will get that best amount. So they also participated very actively, and every caste, religion, everyone saw that it is totally not biased scheme. It is for all person who is eligible for that.
Yes, because on ground that it's not that one village is being favored because they voted for the BJP, or one village is not because it's of a certain other caste or religion or community. Is that there, Prabhakar?
So, whether a Muslim or very poor, Dalit or high, or those who are fulfilling the criteria for the PMAY, everybody got that. Who has the sufficient eligibility criteria, fulfilled the eligibility criteria, sufficient documentation, they got that, irrespective of anything. So, that slogan got proved. Now, because of that, after this scheme started in 2015, but in 2016-17 it speeded up because of the very good motivation and the actual groundation on the work, groundation work on the ground.
Yes.
So sanctioning was done, and it was more than the whatever the projected demand was there. Sanction of the dues were more than that, and vis-a-vis the grounding was done in a very phased manner and very effectively. Now in 2023, those who which are left over the completed house, because it takes time, because beneficiary has to arrange some fund of the contribution, because they have to put some money to construct, because in 2.5, particularly in BLC component, in 2.5 lakhs house is not going to construct completely as per the norms, because it is 1 BHK and there are norms that particular standard they have to follow that. So, and they are very poor people, so somehow they are struggling with the fund to complete the house. Roof is completed, but internal plastering, the tiling, all these things are incomplete. Because of that, it is not coming under the completion. But if you see that okay, everybody has got the roof, then this complete house figure is much more than whatever the figure is there.
Yes.
Because it is not fulfilling the norms, that's why it is not coming under the complete house norms.
So the number could the number could be far higher if those are also incorporated.
It is almost near to the, I can say that
those are interesting.
80%.
Okay, those are interesting logistical hurdles that you've told us about. How could those be further ironed out, Dikshu Kukreja? And also, in terms of the scale of this, obviously, because you've been around the world. You were there at, of course, in fact, I think you were you were very much part of the team that made the Dubai Pavilion. The India Pavilion at the Dubai Expo, where the entire world, of course, had come, and you've also seen how other projects have been carried out world over. How does this, shape up to other projects across the world in terms of the sheer scale? I think these kind of houses, the sheer number of people that have been impacted are more than a lot of countries abroad, the population.
As he was mentioning in the beginning.
Yeah, as you were mentioning earlier, Dikshu. So just tell us about that, how it would compare with the Western world, and also those logistical hurdles that Prabhakar was just speaking about. How can those be further ironed? Because it's important to, come up with solutions to help more people who may be struggling in the last end of the completion of the houses.
No, very much so. And I would also like to point out what Rishabh mentioned earlier. We need to remember that when these kind of deliveries are made to society, the aspiration level of people also accordingly changes. So what we need to remember is that how does one take this kind of a initiative and scheme to the next level? And for that, I would say that as an architect and urban designer, I feel while the roof over the head is already provided, but what's also important in successful communities is urban placemaking. So small initiatives like maybe adding splash of color, which is what India is all about, or going back to our kind of planning principles where you have a gully, nukkad, chowk, mohalla, and create that urbanity. Here also it's very important that we reflect the culture and context. So whether you're building in Muzaffarnagar or you're building in Bhiwani or you're building in any other part of the country, I would urge that the government should also take the initiative to young architects, talented architects, involve them in this kind of placemaking, because remember, for a successful community, as important as that concrete roof over your head is, so is the open space, the community or public space which makes your life. So I think the next level where this development should go is into that kind of improved planning. The numbers, the statistics are all that we all can laud about, which is fantastic. We are very proud as Indians. But now it's also about giving them even a more enhanced quality of living. So I think that's one.
I think. Yeah, complete your point.
Lesson or advice I can offer, given my the global experience you have referred to, and I think that can also make a huge difference to the people living here.
Yes, Rishabh also reacted.
Yeah, so again, what am I seeing? So what we are seeing is that, okay, you start with the house, but then you have to do everything with it. So the house is coming with water and electricity. Okay. Now, does that mean there's 24/7 water and electricity? I don't want to jump to that conclusion because I've not tested it. Okay. But there is a water connection and electricity connection. There's a proper sewerage system that is being built. And outside the housing complexes, there's a 20-foot wide road. Now, the next phase, of course, of urban planning is then you need a shop. Then the parks that need to be built. Some of them, the compounds definitely have parks. They have open areas. Then the person will buy a mobike or buy a scooter. Then you need parking for that. Then somebody might buy their car as aspiration values go up. Then you need a school in the locality. You need good transportation system. Then tomorrow you need a metro. So all of these things then need to now happen. But the only fulcrum test, the taste test which I wanted to sort of do through this course of the telecast is, and I'm going to request my crew, we have a lot of photographs of the other PM Awas Yojana schemes also, some of which we have not gone to, but the photographs are with us. Can we play this on our screens? Just the thumb rule test on this is, the house from outside and inside, is it a humane and decent people, or are you just packed people like sardines, okay, and knocked off the statistics? Have you done a decent job of it, or are you just completing an Excel sheet? And just the dipstick test, and it's an anecdotal test. Have a look at some of the images that you're going to see on your screens. Just the dipstick test of this, okay, is that to some measure, not this multi-window, the photographs of the various schemes from across the country. Maybe Siddharth or Paridhi or Aarti can help us with that. The dipstick test is that the houses look decent from the outside. Some of them of the buildings are actually painted in bright colors from the outside, and the localities are clean. The roads have been made of concrete. They're 20-foot wide roads. There's sewerage facilities. The bathrooms and kitchens are tiled properly. They're just not just cemented, and it's a place where somebody can sleep peacefully at night and live a healthy life, and I think that says a lot of that.
Yes, it certainly does. And Gautam Mukherjee, obviously it's all about increasing economic activity. As the Prime Minister said, once the house is built, it's not just a house, it's going to translate into a community. It's going to translate into further development for the area, because as Rishabh was saying earlier, you'll need a school, you'll need obviously transport there, public transport. This is how growth happens, isn't it? This is to propel growth further, and this is all going to impact our economic activity and then eventually our GDP as well. Gautam.
Yes, and it sort of dovetails with all the work being done on rural roads, on highways.
Yes, interestingly, we covered that just earlier today as well, Gautam. It's interesting to mention that.
You can't do the one and not the other. To some extent, the higher income people, when you talk
Gautamji, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just have a look at this. Is Andhra Pradesh, okay? These are houses that have been built in support with the PM Awas Yojana, okay? Look at this, okay? This is Jharkhand, okay? Let's just keep talking through these photographs over here.
And we're seeing the color that Dikshu was mentioning there.
So these are decently built houses, okay? This is in Gujarat, okay? Even the driveway is being completed because you're empowering people. No, they are also contributing extra fund. No, it's not just that the PM Awas Yojana is providing 1.5 lakhs. Look at this, it's been well painted. The walls are well plastered. Even the windows painting has been highlighted there, and there's a PM Awas Yojana board. This is Chhattisgarh, okay? I'm not even picking BJP ruled. One is Congress ruled, one is BJP ruled. Here's Bihar, okay, which is now Gadpandhan ruled. Okay, have a look at this. The window gratings has been put, somebody's upgrade. Look at this. This is Maharashtra, okay? This is a complex that has been built, okay, which is not complete yet, but you can see the 4-story structured, made to a standard dimension. There's a balcony that has been put. Have a look at this, Karnataka. Okay, nice wooden door. Even the railings have been well painted, fresh coat of paint. This is a place, and even look at even the depictions, the caricatures, the paintings that have been drawn on the walls. So if you would walk into this place, you would not feel gutted, claustrophobic, that you just packed people like sardines and you knocked them off on an Excel sheet, because these are real people, real lives. It's not a statistic. I just wanted to point this out. West Bengal, okay? Have a look at this, right? Clean, neat accommodation with a husband and wife standing in front of it. Pictures speak volumes.
Yes, they certainly do. Gautam.
Yeah, I was just saying that, that much is made of our low per capita income. 2022 has a average of 1.5 lakhs. But having said that, this varies state to state. For example, in Delhi, it's very much higher. In Haryana, it's very much higher. In Karnataka, it's very much higher. So this is designed for the minimum, that is a per capita of 1.5 lakhs. Now, if in fact not even a per capita, entire family with an income of 1.5 lakhs, which is actually contradicting the per capita statistics, but there you are. Now, when you start attacking this, you transform the country, because on the one hand, you're doing your airports and your railways and your tunnels and your bridges and
Yes.
your highways and your digital revolution.
Absolutely.
And on the other, you're addressing the very fundamental thing, as you said, roti, kapda and
Absolutely. It all boils down to that, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to have to leave it at that. We've run completely out of time. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this special broadcast. We're back on the other side with lots more as this special series continues.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.